didn't even mean to wear green for this one, guys. Am I just like super cool and perfect? What's up, guys? My name is Moo. I'm a college student who loves reading, and I'm here to share that love with all of you. Merry Christmas, guys! I am only going to say it in this video because I know that I am going to be editing this and putting it up before Christmas. However, my setup looks a little bit different. Why is that? Because where I usually sit is a Christmas tree. I sit in this room normally and film. However, we just shifted around a little bit. I usually sit right over here, but alas, my Christmas tree is in the way. So I can't sit there, so we're sitting here. Now, that does mean for a couple future videos that are not in December, people are gonna see a Christmas background when it's not Christmas. Work with me, friends. Someday I'll have a permanent setup, and that'll be fantastic. But for now, I'm in my parents' house. I don't got a place to film besides here, so thank you for your patience. So, guys, I watched the Wicked for Good movie just a couple weeks ago. Oh my gosh. Absolutely amazing. So good. Guys, I cried 4 times. I went with my friends, and one of my friends was saying that she kept looking over at me because I just kept going just over and over again in the movie, because I had never seen the musical, so the movie was my first introduction to that, and I know that some people will not like that, so don't be mean to me in the comments. But my first introduction to the musical was through the movies, and I adore the movies. I'm actually going to go watch it again with my mom and my sister soon, so that just shows you how much I love it. I'm forcing my family out to come with me. But this is not a movie channel. We're not talking about the movie. We are talking about the book Wicked by Gregory Maguire. Now, picture this. One day in October, I was sick in bed, and the new Wicked movie was gonna come out in a month, so I was like, maybe I should watch the first Wicked movie. This was on my reading list already. It was in my hobby cart shelf. Might as well watch it. Floored. So good. And then I read this book so quickly. It's thick and the words are small, but I read it super fast. That's how good it is. So I am going to tell you everything that I like about the Wicked book. Before that though, please like this video, comment down below all of your Wicked opinions. I want to hear them all. I want to discuss with you. And if you like this video, please subscribe. I come out with a new video every other Thursday, so I would love to have you here. So, like all my videos, let us start with the summary. When Dorothy triumphed over the Wicked Witch of the West in L. Frank Baum's classic tale, we heard only her side of the story. But what about her arch nemesis, the mysterious witch? Where did she come from? How did she become so wicked? And what is the true nature of evil? Gregory Maguire creates a fantasy world so rich and vivid that we will never look at Oz the same way again. Wicked is about a land where animals talk and strive to be treated like first-class citizens. Munchkinlanders seek the comfort of middle-class stability, and the Tin Man becomes a victim of domestic violence. And then there's the little green-skinned girl named Elphaba, who will grow up to be the infamous Wicked Witch of the West. A smart, prickly, and misunderstood creature who challenges all our preconceived notions about the nature of good and evil. So, one thing that I want to get out of the way before we really dive into this book is, I'm sure plenty of you know this, but this book, nothing like the musical. I don't understand how the musical came from the book, you know? They're so different that like I can't even see a connection between the two. Like, the character names are the same, the place names are the same, but they are so different that it's just a wonder. I think that it's just a wonder that such a different piece of media can come out of this book. It's like the creator of the musical was given the character names, the place names, and the basic plot of what happens in Wicked, and then just filled in the gaps. And that's really interesting. I think both medias are incredible. They are both fantastic. However, I think that it is wrong to compare the two because they are so different. This book is a lot more political than the musical. And I know that's interesting to say because the musical, I guess, can seem political. However, this book goes so far beyond that. Wicked the book mostly focuses on Elphaba and her life, from her birth to her death. Elphaba is born to two parents in the Munchkin lands, one being a woman who got married into lower status and the other a religious fanatic. From a young age, she is absolutely terrified of water, and that is brought up very, very, very early on in this. Now, one thing I want to say about this book is just how crude it is. It just feels unnecessarily crude. I think that it kind of falls into male writer syndrome in that regard because, oh my gosh, like just some of the things that were described were either really gross or really graphic, and I hated that. That's something I noticed about like the first third of the book. It's just like, why did we need to talk about things the way that they were talked about? Like, I just feel like there was a less crude way that you could talk about the things that transpired in the first beginning of the book. But besides that, it really created a foundation for what was to come. The first part talks about Elphaba's childhood briefly, but you don't see much about her. It is interesting because the child is born with really sharp teeth. She's really scary. Her parents are terrified of her, but her sharp baby teeth fall out. She has normal teeth after. She's fine. And it basically skips over most of her childhood, and then we see her enrolled in Shiz University. Elphaba in the book is very dry. She's very withdrawn. She's awkward, but not in a like, oh, I'm so shy, so quirky way like in the musical. It's more of a like standoffish, very cold, very like, I don't want to talk to you, like I have no desire to make friends kind of way. And that is kind of seen throughout the entire book. In this book, Glinda does also make an appearance, but she's not really a big part of the book. She's not a formative part of Elphaba's life. She's just a person in her friend group. When she goes to Shiz University, she also meets a prince named Fiyero. Now, Fiyero in the book does not look like this. Fiyero in the book is depicted as this. In the book, Fiyero is darker skinned, more written to be sort of indigenous. He comes from the quote-unquote uncivilized land of Oz. Very different from the privileged figure that we see in the musical. He can hardly speak the language that the rest of the characters speak when he first appears to them. Now, it's really interesting because a lot of stuff in the book really gets glossed over. Like, there's not a lot of dialogue between characters. It's really just kind of flashes of Elphaba's life, so you don't really even get to see much of the character development, like the interpersonal connections with other characters. It's really just like how Elphaba feels through it and is how Elphaba goes through life. So even though she becomes friends with Glinda, with Boq, with Fiyero, you don't see too much about the development of that. There's a lot of time skips in this book, and it's really interesting to see that because I suppose retelling it can seem confusing, especially when the musical is so relationship driven, but that's just not how it is in the book. So there's not much I can say about the development of the relationship between like Fiyero and Elphaba, for example, but what I can tell you is in this book, Fiyero got married at 7. It was an arranged marriage. It's just a very interesting plot point that I'm not really sure where he was going with this. Like, the author, I'm not really sure where the author was going with it. I suppose it didn't matter that much in the end, but the way that Elphaba got her castle was very reliant on her relationship with Fiyero, which is something that I thought the book did a lot better. So they go through university and Elphaba gets really into animal activism. Now, the way that non-speaking animals and speaking animals are differentiated in the book is animals that cannot speak and function more like animals in our world were animals with a lowercase a. Meanwhile, animals with more human qualities, they wore clothes, they spoke languages, they had more human professions, they had a capital A animals. And in college, Elphaba started really focusing on her activism with capital A animals because of Dr. Dillamond. You guys will remember Dr. Dillamond from the musical. He is pretty much the exact same in the book. That is one thing that is pretty much the exact same, is his character. However, Dr. Dillamond, while he was trying to find the genetic distinction between lowercase a animals and uppercase a animals, in order to prove that they were different and they should not be treated as lesser than just because they are not human like the rest of Ozians, he suspiciously dies. He is found dead in his laboratory, his throat mysteriously cut, and unfortunately, yes, he dies. Elphaba is obviously very torn up about this, and it makes her become quite radical, and she decides that she can no longer stay around at Shiz University. She has to abandon her friends. She has to abandon her armless sister Nessarose, who is now also studying at Shiz University, and she goes to the Emerald City where she hides out. So, I believe 4 years pass, and Fiyero is in the Emerald City, and he stumbles upon a familiar figure, and he follows her, and it is Elphaba. And that is where the romance, question mark, begins between them. It is quite interesting what conspires between them two, because Fiyero is having an affair technically. He was arranged to be married at 7. He got married at 7. So technically he has a wife, and he has had a wife for like 15 years. But he was never really in love with his wife because it was an arranged marriage, and he sneaks off and goes to Elphaba instead, and they have an affair. It's not the, lovey-dovey affair that you see in the musical. It is a lot darker, it is a lot more physical, but it provides an interesting aspect of the story that actually propels Elphaba further into the story of how she got to where she was by the time you see her in The Wizard of Oz. So while this is all happening, Elphaba is part of an underground resistance group fighting for the capital A animals, and she doesn't tell Fiyero anything because she doesn't want him to get hurt, but one day she has a mission where she has to take out Madame Morrible. But the mission goes bad, she can't do it, and Fiyero, who had quietly followed her, something happens, and he is also murdered. Very scary! He's actually no body was ever found, blood on the bed sheets, woo, scary. And that's where we get another time cut where Elphaba journeys to the castle that Fiyero used to live in to apologize to his wife. His wife welcomes her into the castle, open arms, does not want to hear any of it. By then, I believe 7 more years have passed. Elphaba has a little boy traveling with her who suspiciously may be the son of Elphaba and Fiyero. But she said that she blacked out for a year and suddenly there was a baby. This book is insane, but I love it. So she's bringing a child. She's bringing a dog that the child befriended. She's bringing a monkey named Chistry that she also met along the journey, and they all made it to the castle. And she wanted to tell the truth to Fiyero's wife so that she could be at peace and just be happy, not continuing life, because she had made her amends with Fiyero's wife. However, Fiyero's wife does not want to hear it. She says, no. A lot of people think that they're at fault. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear anything. Da, 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 da. And she's just like, bro, like, can I please tell you? And his wife is like, no. So she ends up staying at the castle a lot longer than she wanted to because she really wants to get it out. Unfortunately, conflict happens. Fiyero's wife, her sisters, and her 3 children are kidnapped by the Emerald City Army, and they unfortunately are never seen again. So she's alone in this castle. And while this is happening, Nessarose has become the governess of Munchkin Land, and she is a religious fanatic, and she is forcing everybody to live under that religious fanaticism, and people are starting to hate it. They're starting to hate this fundamentalist view, and they are calling her the Wicked Witch of the East. And now that Elphaba is in a castle in the west and they have found that out, word has gotten around and she's the Wicked Witch of the West. So that is how that happened. So she talks to Nessarose. Nessarose is like, you abandoned me, where have you been? Elphaba's like, sorry, that's just how things went, like, I couldn't tell you because X, Y, and Z, da 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 da. And they have a very tumultuous relationship. As you know, the house falls on Nessarose, and this starts the Wizard of Oz story. This is like the only other time Glinda really comes in to a semi-major part of the story. It's like not even that big of a role. It's like, oh, like LOL, I gave Nessarose's shoes that were a gift from Elphaba and Nessarose's father to the little girl. Da 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 da. Whatever. And Elphaba suddenly gets mad. She's like, no, Nessarose put it in her will that I could have those shoes. Those shoes are mine. I'm going to get them back from her. They're enchanted now. Like, what the heck, bro? And that is what offsets her to go get the shoes. One part of this book that I think that the musical did a lot better is the origins of the Scarecrow and the Tin Man. For spoilers' sake, I'm not going to tell anybody what happened in the musical, but in the book, the Tin Man is the forbidden lover of a girl, and the family does not like it, so they hurt him in order to save him. Nessarose turned him into a Tin Man, and the Scarecrow is just some scary feat of nature that Elphaba can't explain, and she is terrified by it. She has no idea how it happened. In fact, Elphaba is hardly even magical in the book. She has a flying broom, and that's about all of the magic she can do. In the book, just like in the original story, Dorothy is asked by the wizard, who Elphaba has always hated, by the way. She never had an idea that he was this great man or anything like that. The wizard orders Dorothy to kill the Wicked Witch of the West and give proof. And she goes, she does that. Elphaba's like, what the heck, bro? Like, what did I even do? I'm so sick of this. Da, 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 da. And she talks to Dorothy. Dorothy's like, I don't know what to do, man. Like, these shoes cannot come off. Like, it's scary. I'm not having a good time. I know you're not having a good time. Da, 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 da. Elphaba's like, I need those shoes. Like, give me those shoes. I will do anything for those shoes. And somehow, during that, her broom catches fire. And it spreads to her cloak and that kind of thing. And Dorothy's like, oh my gosh, I'll get you water, hold on. And Elphaba's like, no, 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 no. And Dorothy takes the water, she splashes it on Elphaba. Elphaba goes down. She melts. She's been scared of water her entire life, and it's because water burns her, water melts her, water kills her. And the story ends saying Elphaba is dead anyways. Like, and that's basically it. It kind of gives a summary of where everyone in the story ended up. Wasn't that crazy? That's the story. So, well, the story itself was not the focal point, and it perhaps may not seem the most exciting as I am retelling it to you. I cannot emphasize enough how fantastic this book was. It was incredibly character driven, which I know is not something that everybody loves, but the more I read it, the more I enjoy it. It also was very intelligent, it was very witty, the socio-political dynamics were incredibly well written out. It explained a lot, and that's really cool. Like, it explained so much that yes, it did fall short in a couple areas. For example, the Tin Man and the Scarecrow just kind of randomly being there as a last thought. Like, that perhaps was not the strongest element of the book. However, he created an entire new side of a world that someone else built and turned it into this super dark, super grungy, political type thing. And I think that it really reflects the grunginess of the 90s, like that sub-aesthetic. Like, it was just very dark, it was very cynical, but it was really well written and I really enjoyed it, and I totally get why this is Gregory Maguire's best book. I do recommend this book to anyone who enjoys Wicked. Perhaps if you don't like political satire, political commentary, this book isn't the right one for you. However, I really liked it. I really thought it was intelligent, and I recommend it to people who do like the musical and want to see where it was loosely inspired by. I hope you enjoyed that video. I had a great time filming it. It's been a long time since I filmed. I don't think I've filmed since August, guys. It's December now. It's so busy always as a college girly, but I'm here for you always. I love filming. I love making videos, and I love that you guys come back every other week to hang out with me. So, like I said, please like this video and subscribe if you would like to see more from me. I would love to see more from you. But that's all that I have to say today. Without further ado, this has been Moo. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye!